We spent a little time with one sadhu. Just we're walking. It was in that rougher part, like the real paved kind of city part. Not that there's soft sandy path parts right by the hill, and then there's sometimes you kind of got to go through the town. And this sadhu was doing the 108 at every spot. He had a pile of 108 rocks, and he's wearing saffron, big white beard and top knot, face just so blissful, Raghunath. And he was doing, and I just stopped and I said, everyone, you can take a look at this gentleman here. He's doing 108 at every spot. He bows down and gets up 108 times at this spot. Then he'll move his mat and he'll do it at the next spot. And he's going to go around the 14 miles like that. And this man, he looked up at us, Raghunath. He had a big round face like a moon. And he was just so happy, He was just full of. Yeah. There's no. You could see this person doesn't have the fear, the anxiety, the headaches, the
still, it doesn't even seem like they have the physical ability. Looking at them, it seems like, are you kidding? It's just like if I saw my mom and say my mom's going to bench press, 120 pounds today. You can't. You just can't do that. I don't know how they physically can do with their body what they're doing.
So many things they do. Like they'll jam into like an auto rickshaw. Like, I'm sorry, but all of those 14 women that you crammed into that tiny vehicle are over 70 years old. How are you doing that? It's like we couldn't just put a normal 75-year-old woman in one of those rickshaws and just ride around on these roads. It'd be too rough for them.
I know.
And they're jammed in there like sardines.
We have been pampered our entire life.
Our minds limited us.
And our minds limit us. Well, we can't do that. I'm too old for this. We say these mantras again and again in our mind. I need my space. No, you don't. You don't need nothing. I need my space.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Live from South Goa, India, this is Wisdom of the Sages, a daily spiritual podcast with your host, Raghunath, and co-host and senior educator at the Bhakti Center in New York, Kaustubha. Welcome to the show. It's episode 1537. Today is Monday, February 17th, 2025. Woo! Good morning, Kaustubha at Govardhan Hill.
Good morning, Raghunath.
Good afternoon for us.
Really not morning. Yeah, for us.
I don't know. It's the afternoon. Our day is done. It's 4:30. You had a good day? How's Govardhan going?
We completed our Govardhan Parikrama today. It was wonderful, beautiful, absolutely fantastic.
You did it in two parts. We are getting old, aren't we?
I'm ready to do it in one part, but it was the right choice for the group. It was definitely the right choice for the group.
Okay, you're thinking for the team. Okay, good.
I'm thinking for the team, and they did wonderful though. Every single person on this little mini yatra was just fantastic, and we all got into it together and had a wonderful, wonderful time. And it just wrapped up, kind of like. Tonight's kind of the last night. Right now, Satchidananda Swami's giving class here at the Govardhan Retreat Center where we're staying. So all of our people are over here there with him, and I'm with you, Raghunath. You and
abandon ship.
Yeah, I encourage them to abandon ship. It was a good ship to abandon.
It's a good ship to jump on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we went out early yesterday morning, early this morning, circumambulated the hill of Govardhan. Oh.
It's great. I like these half parikramas, actually.
It's a very reasonable way to go about things.
Yeah, in my older age, I'm more reasonable. Ever since Mara entered my life, I've become much more reasonable, I find. Everything was extremes in my old incarnation in Raghunath 1.0.
You perceive it that way, Raghunath?
Extremes?
No, that you perceive it, that you've changed drastically in terms of...
I have. Are you kidding?
I'm not.
I'm so paced right now. It's unbelievable. Okay. Come on, Mara. Tell her. Tell him.
Yes, he's very calm and stable and something now.
Okay, thank you, Mara. That's a
Oh,
little
you're gonna get it after the show.
placebo effect. Just keep saying it.
Ah.
Anyway, it was it was
Funny.
wonderful. You know, we saw when we Govardhan Retreat Center is really great, and you just cross the street and you're there at Govardhan, right? Like at a beautiful place right at the foot of the hill, beautiful sandy area,
Mhm.
beautiful Sheila's there, and you know we stepped out there to just begin, and the very first thing we saw, just as we were starting yesterday,
A blue cow.
a blue cow right there looking right at us. Right,
Yeah.
it was very
Blue
auspicious.
cows are these, like, I think that type of elks. They call them nirgoys. It means blue cow.
Neil guy, Neil guy.
Neil guys. And they live on Govardhan Hill, and it's very auspicious to see them. They're a
Yeah.
type of big. They're not quite blue, but I could see how, sometimes they're like a
They get bluish.
blackish tint of maybe
Yeah,
blue,
they got
but they're
a
interesting.
little
They're very,
hint,
and they're
the
and they're
tint.
soft and docile, but much more wild than a cow.
Yeah. Yeah, much more wild than a cow.
Much more
But they're
wild.
considered very auspicious to see in Vrindavan, and so that was a nice way to start. And
It's very cool.
you know,
I think they're in the
spent.
antelope family.
Oh, an antelope,
Oh,
Mara says. It's a
thank
type
you,
of
Mara.
antelope.
Thank you for that. They don't seem to jump around like I would imagine an antelope would, though.
Anything else, Mara, you know about those nirgoys?
Neil guy.
Neil Gaia.
They band together in 3 distinct kind of groups. 1 or 2 females with young calves, 3 to 6 adult yearling females. That's not so important to us.
They're quadrupeds. Okay. They're known for walking on all 4 limbs. Occasionally, they give
have
birth
lungs.
and nurse them.
It's been associated
them.
with Indian culture since the Vedic period.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they were hunted during the Mongols and are depicted in numerous miniatures.
Oh, that's horrible. Those damn
Yeah.
Mongols.
Yeah.
In
Any case,
Bihar, authorities have classified the Nilgoy as vermin.
vermin. You know, Bihar's got a bad reputation. I'm sorry,
Bihar's got a
Bihar
bad
people, but,
reputation.
you
I'm
know,
sorry,
they-
people from Bihar.
I think they ravage crops.
They've been
I think that's why they're
struggling
pests.
for a while.
Well, they
Bihar.
ravage crops. Well, they need to eat too.
Yeah.
Guess what? Yes. Hare Krishna.
Any case, Raghunath, we spent some beautiful time at Uddhavakund.
Nice. Charming.
Really nice there. And then right next to Uddhavakund there's a really big goshala there with like thousands of cows, just sweet cows, Raghunath, tons
Yeah.
of them. Then they let them all out to cross the street. It was just like a massive herd. So satisfying
All the
to
cows
see.
that appear wild in India are not wild at all. They have homes.
Yeah,
They go in at night. They go in. There's herds
go in.
walking around here in Goa too.
Yeah. So anyway, then Radhakund, all the way around. It just at every step, it was a wonderful, wonderful program both days. And we winded up. We stopped off at Jatipur, had a lassi.
You like those lassies, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, if you do the first half, from here, it means you do the Radhakund half first.
Oh, okay.
Next day is very easy, because it's a little bit
Yeah,
shorter.
the Radhakund episode is a lot longer. That stretch, sort
It's
of from
longer
where
and
you
it's
are
harder.
to Radhakund. That's the hard stretch.
Okay. Yeah, it's a little rough, a little bit of city action, a little bit of, hard ground. And then you finish that and you got a short one the next day and it's all just soft sand and beautiful paths and
So nice.
sweet,
How
sweet
did
animals.
Jiva do?
I don't know. I don't know if publicly I should say this, but since you asked, right as we're just getting ready to go, it's dark out. It's 6 a.m. and I'm saying, okay, everybody, this is what we're gonna do. Let's get into this. I said, we're gonna walk at a pretty decent pace, but I'm gonna be checking in on everyone. And she said something to me like, "Well, that's a pretty big ask you're asking right now," or something like that. Yeah, and I could see the anxiety on her face. Like, am I going to be able to make this trip? And
Yeah.
I said, it's going to be all right, Jiva. And then when we got then we went to the hill, bowed down, got up, and I said, Jiva, you're with me. And the two of us just set the pace. And she
Nice.
did great. She did absolutely great. The whole her consciousness wise, she was.
What is it with these Indians that are like, looks like they've never worked out a day in their life,
and they go
They're
around
over
the thing.
50 and they're doing like Prikram like it's nobody's business, barefoot, fast pace, Dandavat Prikram. I cannot figure where they muster the strength to move forward.
There's
What is it?
no. It must have. It must be that our minds are limiting us or something like that.
It must be some mental.
You
They're like
know,
barefoot. The road is paved. It's
when
getting
we,
hot out.
yeah, when we arrived here, just after we had our last podcast, we took off and we went to Radhakund that evening, and
Mm.
hooked up with Mohan Panda, did the whole thing. And one rickshaw wala kind of stayed with us as we went in because just to make sure we could get back to the rickshaws.
Yeah.
And as we were leaving Radhakund, he turned to me and said, "This Baba right here, very good, good devotee, good devotee. He does. He was just coming out of Radhakund, just having bathed,
Yeah.
and he said he does 3 times around every day.
3 times around every day. Who are these people?
3 times around. That means
63 kilometers
42 miles, right?
every
No,
day. Barefoot.
14 miles times 3. Yeah, 42 miles every day, barefoot around that hill. And then bathes in Radhakund, I don't know what to say, except I bow my head to such a person that's decided to use their energy that way. We'll send you some photos. We spent a little time with one sadhu. Just we're walking. It was in that rougher part, like the real paved kind of city part. Not that there's soft sandy path parts right by the hill, and then there's sometimes you kind of got to go through the town. And this sadhu was doing the 108 at every spot. He had a pile of 108 rocks, and he's wearing saffron, big white beard and top knot, face just so blissful, Raghunath. And he was doing, and I just stopped and I said, "Everyone, you can take a look at this gentleman here. He's doing 108 at every spot. He bows down and gets up 108 times at this spot. Then he'll move his mat and he'll do it at the next spot. And he's going to go around the 14 miles like that." And this man, he looked up at us, Raghunath. He had a big round face like a moon. And he was just so happy, He was just full of, yeah. There's no, you could see this person doesn't have the fear, the anxiety, the headaches, the
But still, it doesn't even seem like they have the
resentments.
physical ability. Just by looking at them, it seems like, are you kidding? It's just like if I saw my mom and say my mom's going to bench press, 120 pounds today. You can't. You just can't do that. I don't know how they physically can do with their body what they're doing.
So many things they do, like they'll jam into like an auto rickshaw. Like, I'm sorry, but all of those 14 women that you crammed into that tiny vehicle are over 70 years old. How are you doing that? It's like we couldn't just put a normal 75-year-old woman in one of those rickshaws and just ride around on these roads. It'd be too rough for them.
I know.
And they're jammed in there like sardines.
We have been pampered our entire life.
Our minds limited us. Our minds limited us.
And our minds limit us. Well, we can't do that. I'm too old for this. We say these mantras again and again in our mind. I need my space. No, you don't. You don't know nothing. I need my space. Just deal with it.
I was also thinking, we stayed in this place. It was a decent facility. It had no charm or anything to it, but it was all right. It was a little cold. It was a little bare, I went in there, the water doesn't run exactly as you would wish it to, and this and that. And I was a little less than perfectly comfortable, but I was all right. But I began to think, you and I used to, like, the bathrooms in the winter had really no window, like the cold breeze was like blowing. It was like being outside. It was like being outside. It was like being outside. It's freezing cold. How do we live that way? And the bathroom was like everything was because like the water quality was so bad and salt. Like everything's all corroded. Like all the knobs and everything don't work right. None of the showers kind of flow right. So it's like not only is it freezing cold in this totally deteriorated bathroom, not only are the toilets like really low level, like really really unpleasant. Not only is the water freezing cold and the room is freezing cold,
Sure.
but because all the pipes and the shower heads and all that are all kind of corroded and rusted, like the water's hardly coming out. So it's freezing in the room, it's freezing cold water, and it's just dripping out, and you're trying to get the soap on you and off you. And it's
And
like,
off
how did we?
you.
Yeah.
You know what?
So, but our minds didn't limit us then, you know?
I think it's
just
because
like,
we were
we're done.
younger and we had very limited, neither of us grew up rich, and so we have
Well, I grew
low
up more comfortable than that.
expectations.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, yes, but we had low expectations. We've all, I was in a band, touring, sleeping in a car most of my touring days. But so, okay, we could do that. It's when you get older and you have been cushier as you've been getting older, then to pull back and drop right into, okay, we're going to sleep 4 in a room. We're going to do one of these jailhouse showers. The water's only going to be whatever if it's hot out, the water's going to be really hot. And if it's cold out, the water's going to be really cold.
It'd be so cold.
And here's a spigot, and here's the underwear you're wearing. That was never like and nothing was there. And don't worry, after you take that freezing cold shower, you're going to go out into the freezing cold marble temple room, where the coldness of the marble is going to come right through your bones.
Yeah, basically that's an outdoor situation too. There's no walls. There's no.
You're
ceiling.
living at basically it's like a camping out.
Yeah. But I was thinking about it and I was talking to everyone about it today, but what kept us going was all of the men that we admired were living this life and they had so much to share. Every class, every kirtan was just like exciting, The temple was ridiculously beautiful. The kirtans were incredibly potent and powerful and exciting. The
it's amazing how far that kirtan
enlivening and insightful.
Kirtan and classes, how that can just keep you going.
Yeah.
The kirtan, the classes, the faith.
I remember in Mayapur and in Vrindavan in those days, be like Mangalarti, then they say, and today, so-and-so Swami will be giving a class. And it was like, yeah, it's just like every morning it was like that, right? It was like, oh man, this is going to be great. Yeah, that kept us going,
We were inspired.
Yeah, we're fortunate. Anyway, these devotees are a new generation. They're really good devotees. Every one of them right down the line.
They're just weak? Is that what you're saying? They're weak?
No, not at all. Where did you
soft.
get that from? I was saying nice things about
these
them.
new jacks are soft.
No, I was not saying that. I was saying they're really wonderful devotees.
Yeah, sweet people.
Oh, but we did see one kind of, at one point I just had to pull the group back together.
Yeah, they started breaking down.
It was a little bit like we're getting a little bit separated from each other as we're walking, and then there was just a little bit more talking going on. I could just feel a little bit more,
pull it in. Zip it up.
less focus. But then, we saw something that's hard to see, Raghunath. I don't know if you've ever
with a
seen
leg in his
Well,
neck.
you know how like the electricity and all of these telephone poles or whatever, these electrical poles is like a big spider web of maze of wires and everything like that.
Yeah, it's like completely like against all fire codes, the electricity and
Yeah. So it's in one sense it's dangerous enough for human for animals. This is the second time I've seen this in my life, but I saw it happen this time, like right in front of me. It was a poor monkey got
electrocuted.
Yeah, and
Oh,
I
you're
heard the
kidding.
pop sound, and I looked up, and I was praying for that monkey as it was coming down to the ground. Yeah, because I knew as soon as I heard that, I knew what it was because I'd been around it before. And I just looked at the monkey and I just went into prayer mode and I just prayed for that monkey as it was hitting the ground. But that was a little shocking for some people to see,
Oh, I'm
And
sure.
I could see it was affecting everyone. Yeah, we walked a little more and they said, let's just stop for a second, Let's just
Wow.
stop. Yeah,
Oh my
we
gosh.
had to see something that was a little rough. But
You know,
that yeah.
it was a
You're gonna say
blessed
it.
monkey. A blessed monkey.
If you have to die anywhere, what better place in the world could you die? It was an instant death
Instant
And,
death at Govardhan Hill.
at Govardhan Hill. And we're all here right now with this incredibly fortunate opportunity to spend these last hour walking down this path, chanting our rounds and getting deeply. So let's say a prayer for the monkey. Let's set our head straight. Let's keep going,
Let's hope our death is as noble as this little monkey.
That's right. Exactly.
Right? He's just doing his monkey duties at Govardhan Hill. and he leaves his body.
It's just doing his
It's gonna
monkey
happen. It's not like
business.
he's alone. We're all gonna die, and it's all gonna
We're
gonna
all
be
doing our
lousy.
monkey business. We're
It's
all
not
doing
like
our
we're gonna
monkey
have
business.
like, oh, I have this great death. It's all gonna be horrible. You
Yeah.
know, it's all gonna be horrible. And let's hope that
what I
happens at Govardhan Hill or at some holy place, surrounded by a bunch of pilgrims doing their thing.
You know, speaking about Govardhan Hill, Raghunath, because you know
Yeah.
we're also reading the Leela of Govardhan. You know, we read last night. We got together. Govardhan Retreat Center. I'm loving it. You know, you can go right out there on the lawn and just sit there on the lawn together, and as the
Yeah.
sun's going down, read. We're reading from Ananda Vrindavan Champu.
Great book.
Oh, man, look, it's all
Kavi
the Krishna.
Karnapur.
Kavi Karnapur, author. Essentially, it's the layout of the 10th canto of the Bhagavatam, but with all kinds of details in there, right? Beautiful details.
Super cool book.
Yeah. And you know, just Kavi Karnapur, you know, Kavi means he's a great poet, right?
Mm.
Champu, do you know what Champu means, Raghunath?
It's like shampoo.
No.
Okay. I don't know what it means.
Champu is a type of literature that combines both prose and poetry. Yeah.
Okay.
And so you know he mastered this beautiful art form of writing, and he writes in such a way where Krishna is just speaking in sweet words, but it's like, but he's giving deep philosophical points too. You know, like Krishna's talking to the cowherd men. You know, Krishna's talking to Nanda Maharaj, and you know, if we go to the Bhagavad Gita, what's the conclusion of the Bhagavad Gita?
Surrender to Krishna.
So Sarva
I
Dharma
will protect
Pratijya.
you. I will protect you. Do
And
not
just
fear.
before that, give up all variety, all the different dharmas. You know,
Give
Bhagavad
up all
Gita
dharma.
talks-
Just surrender to me. I'll protect you.
Yeah. All the
do not
different
fear.
religious processes, all the different yogic processes, all these different dharmic ideas of dharma. You know, Bhagavad Gita is saying they're valid, they work, but you don't have to worry about them, Arjuna. Give them all up. Surrender to me. Surrender to Krishna. And all of those Vedic ideas and Upanishadic ideas, it covers them all. It's all covered. Don't have to worry about it. And in a sense, Krishna is saying the same thing to Nanda Maharaj. You know, he sees Nanda, his father, who's kind of the head of the cowherd community, right? Noble, beautiful man, who's got nothing in his heart but love for Krishna and all of the residents of Vrindavan. And he's getting ready to do a Vedic ritual, right? Like this Indra Puja. And you know, a puja, you know, a ritual to honor the god of the rain. And so Krishna is saying this just as adorable. You can just imagine how adorable Krishna is when he's saying all this stuff. It says it actually in Nanda Vrindavan Champu that he pulled Krishna up on his lap, right? And this adorable little boy is saying, Father, what are you doing? What is this ritual? Can you tell me about it if I'm old enough? You know, if you think I can understand, I would very much like to hear this. And his father says, well, you know, everything that we get is a blessing, you know, from higher beings. The rain that we get that nourishes our fields and our crops that we feed to our cows, it's all coming from the god Indra. So, you know, we need to honor him. And so therefore, every year we get together and we do this puja. And Krishna says, Father, we don't need to do this ritual at all, right? Sarva Dharma Pratijya. We don't need to do this ritual. All we need to do is to honor Govardhan Hill, you know? And if you just surrender to Govardhan Hill, don't think for one moment, he's saying, don't doubt for one moment that all your desires will be fulfilled. If you surrender and connect yourself with Govardhan Hill, have no doubt, you know, that everything is taken care of. He's saying, you know, I promise you this. And then, you know, Krishna, and they get so charmed by him that they all decide, okay. You know, in one sense, it's a really outrageous thing, right? It's like imagine if when you were a little kid and your parents brought you to church and you said, you know, Daddy, tell me what's going on with this church. Oh, well, the priest is saying the prayers and they turn the wine into the blood of Christ and the Eucharist and this, and you just said, no, stop this. We don't need to do this. We should do something
You don't need
else."
to do this.
Yeah. It's like, you know, everybody says, shut up, kid. You don't know what you're talking about. But Krishna was just so beautiful and charming, the way that he did it, that they said, okay, well, they're going to do it Krishna's way.
Your son is very wise.
So then they did exactly what he described a whole festival. This is how we're going to do it, right? You know, we need to make a lot of food, you know, a lot of delicious food, and then we need to call all the Brahmins. You need to give charity to them. We need to bring in all the musicians and all the dancers, and he describes this whole incredible festival, and they go and they do it, and it's just so joyful. They said, Kavi Karnapur is saying, there's no container that we can imagine large enough to contain the bliss that Nanda Maharaj was feeling in his heart as they were celebrating this Govardhan Puja, right?
Wow.
Amazing. And then miraculously, like, Govardhan manifests in a form that starts to accept all the offerings. So
when
it's
you
like
talk about that, that's a very interesting little part of the story. Govardhan Hill manifests into this being.
Yeah, it really. Another Vrindavan Champu says it's like on top of the hill, but like this massive being on top of the hill, you know, and accepts all the offerings they made, all these food offerings, this anakut, this mountain of food that they made. And Krishna's saying, "Look, you see, I told you to not doubt that this Govardhan is not an ordinary, you know, just lifeless, you know, hill. This is, you know, Govardhan is a person, and you know,
And everybody's happy. Everybody's happy. The hill's happy. Govardhan, that form is happy. The cowherd boys are happy. The cowherd girls are happy. Krishna's happy. The elderly
only
are
one,
happy. The animals
only
are
one-
happy. Just one
one
person
person
is
wasn't.
not happy.
Oh yeah, you know, and then you hear what Indra said. You know, the god Indra's like, how dare they, right?
Dare they?
Ignore me. And he said, you know what? He said things, Raghunath. You know, it was one of those classic things. This is from Bhagavatam. Let me pull this up from Bhagavatam, not from.
These statements, by the way, when I make these statements, I know I'm in real Maya. Here are the statements.
Oh,
How dare they? And
okay.
don't they know who I am?
That's a tough
Those
one
two
right there.
statements mean if they ever come out of your mouth, that means
Okay.
most likely you're in big Maya.
Well, he had some statements like that. I want to see if I can pull them up here quick. Let's see. Lord Krishna lives Govardhan Hill. Yeah, he gets angry. Let's see. So the clouds. Sukadeva Goswami, angry Indra sent forth the clouds. Indra said, just see. Now, this is one of those things where it's like you see a fault in someone else when it's really your own fault, right?
Yeah.
So he said, angry Indra sent forth the clouds of universal destruction. Indra said, just see how these cowherd men living in the forest have become so greatly intoxicated by their prosperity. No, Indra. You were the one that's become intoxicated by your prosperity. Right? He's living in the heavenly planets. He's enjoying like crazy, and he's just out of touch. You know, he's thinking he's so powerful. He must be honored, and so on. Cowherd men were just charmed by Krishna's beauty. They weren't intoxicated by their prosperity. So anyway, you know, as you say, there's only one person that wasn't harmonious with this whole beautiful thing, right? When you read the description in Under Vrindavan Champu, it's like, oh my God, can I just melt into that world right now? You know, can I just live in this? You know, it's one thing to say, oh, everybody was blissful or everybody's happy or something. Or when you get to the impersonal literature that talks about liberation, moksha, you know, it talks about the bliss that you feel. Nowhere do you hear such descriptions, in detailed descriptions about the deepest levels of joy and happiness that one can feel than you find in these texts of the classic Bhakti Shastras. It goes into such detail about the sweetness and the joy that all these, you know what else it says there, Raghunath?
Tell me.
It's so good. It describes that day that they lifted Govardhan Hill, it coincided with this day where sisters honor their brothers.
Oh yeah, the what is that? The
Raksha
Bandha.
They had another name for it in there. That's probably like the modern name for it, or more common name for it. But so Krishna had in Vrindavan, he didn't have his sister, right? Of course, outside of Vrindavan, there's Subhadra. But inside Vrindavan, he had like a cousin sister, right? Like a cousin.
Mm.
And she said, "Oh, Krishna," with love in her heart, everyone's loving Krishna so much. And Krishna, let me, honor you, my brother. And she starts to give all kinds of offerings and saying all kind of prayers on his behalf and just showering him with love.
Hmm.
And providing all these food offerings and everything. And Krishna's friend Madhu Mangal, who I forget the exact phrase that he used to describe him, but it was something like the jokester
Chubby
or something like that.
Chubby
Yeah,
little Brahmin friend, the jokester, the prankster.
Yeah, and he's just it's the way Kavi Karnapur does it is so sweet. He says like he enchanted the enchanter of the universe, right? Like Krishna enchants the whole world, and Krishna is there, being showered with love by this cousin and lifting the hill, and everybody's joyous. He's enchanted by his friend who's saying, his friend Madhu Mangal, who's saying, you know what, Krishna, the creator of the universe, he's so off, like he's so incompetent. Why didn't he create every holiday to be this holiday? Because then we could be enjoying like this on every day, And Krishna's just like laughing and enjoying all this, It was all.
It makes
such
so
a
much
beautiful-
sense that if there is a God, he's a young
Yeah.
boy and he's got
Yeah.
tons of friends, and each friend
Yeah.
plays this archetype. And Madhu Mangal plays the archetype of, like, when you were a little kid, there was one kid who was
Yeah.
the jester kid that made
Yeah.
everybody laugh. It was silly. We'd get into trouble. That is Madhu Mangal.
And there's a sweetness because he's not one of the cowherd boys. He's a Brahmin boy, so he's technically like in a higher caste, and he's always claiming that privilege, right?
He's always claiming that he's in the higher class, but at the same time, he's addicted to stealing sweets.
He's the most easily corruptible Brahmin of all time because you give him a sweet, he'll say
He'll
anything.
do whatever you want.
Yeah. This is the charm and the beauty of Vrindavan, of Vraja. There's
I
nothing
wish
like
we
it.
understood Sanskrit, because I got a feeling the way Kavi Karnapur writes, it would be even more relishable.
Of course.
Yeah.
You weren't there that day, but we had Professor Ravi Gupta, Radhika Raman Prabhu,
Yeah.
on the show, and I asked him, who's a scholar of Srimad Bhagavatam, and I asked him, just tell us straight out. We don't read Sanskrit, you do. We're reading Bhagavatam, you're reading Bhagavatam. How much are we missing out by not being able to read Sanskrit? How much are we missing out on it? Because the meaning's all there, right? And he's
Right.
like, Prabhu, I'm sorry to tell you, you are really missing out. You are really missing out. It's like, yeah, I thought so.
Yeah.
Oh,
Not that you
man.
can't understand the essence, or else Prabhupada
No.
would have translated it, but it's
The
just beautiful
beauty.
poetry. It's beautiful poetry.
Yeah. And of course, the more you understand language, even the more you can penetrate in the mess. But the essential message is there for sure.
Swami, I appreciate that you are deep in your bliss right now, but Mara didn't make any announcements, and we're
Oh.
35 minutes in. So let's jump into
now, Mara.
Mara.
Mara, how could you
Hi.
have waited so long?
I'm sorry, I didn't want to interrupt all this nectar. We have a 6 a.m. show again tomorrow. I wanted to wish the bright light Kishori Gopi happy birthday today.
Oh, she's in
Very
Mayapur right now.
Yeah, she
Yeah,
is
Bright
celebrating.
light.
Also, today's Wear Your Merch Monday. So help us promote the show by wearing your Wisdom of the Sages merch. Take a picture, share it on Facebook or Instagram, and tag us.
I tell you, it really works.
Yeah, and we'll share the post too.
Who did we just see that had their merch decided to bring their merch bag?
Yeah.
And they ran into somebody, another Wisdom of Sages person randomly, they didn't know they were all connected.
They sent you
My
message
my
on, I
brain
can't
is-
remember. Yeah.
Yep, there it is. There's the merch
There's
bag.
the toad.
Yeah. Those totes
beautiful.
are nice.
I like them.
Yeah.
You can get them at wisdomofthesages.com.
All right.
Anyway,
Anyway,
Kishori Gopi wrote to me because I'm assistant priest at her wedding coming up.
what? You're the
Oh.
assistant priest.
Yeah.
What are you?
I'm nothing.
This is when
I don't
Rohu gets
think so.
angry. It's the second time I got the assistant priest job at a big wedding. Remember, John used to. What? Maybe you can do a little kirtan or something.
No, whatever.
Come on.
No, but she doesn't want me the assistant priest. I'm doing nothing.
Okay.
Just gonna eat the sweets.
You're the jokester of this crew. But she wrote me a letter that had a whole list of like paraphernalia that needs to be brought to do the
Right.
yagna and all that. And
Yeah.
it's all like these things like, all this kind of paraphernalia that like brahmanas that do yagnas have. I wrote back, I don't have any of that stuff. Like the one thing on the list that I do have is cow. I'm in Govardhan right now. I can get you some cow dung if you want, But all the other stuff, I said I'm more of a teacher brahmana than a priest brahmana. I don't have any of that stuff. I'll bring you some cow dung.
Okay,
Would you like some cow dung? You come in here.
What's that?
I was saying, would you like some cow dung?
I am coming. I'm coming. We're coming to
You're coming.
Govardhan.
Yeah.
At the tail end of the trip. I'm looking forward to it. Okay.
Should we get into it? Or should we
that's
just
it.
talking about Govardhan?
No, let's go. Let's get into it. Narayanam namaskritya naram chaiva narotamam devim saraswatim vyasam tatojayam mudiryat. Before we start in the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is our very means of conquest, one should offer respectful obeisances to the Supreme Lord Narayan, unto Nara Narayan Rishi, the supermost human being, unto Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, and to Srila Vyasadeva, the author. Nasta prayeshu vadreshu nityam bhagavat sevaya bhagavati uttama shloke bhaktir bhavati naishtiki. By regular attendance in classes in the Bhagavatam and by rendering service to the pure devotees, all that is troublesome to the heart will become eradicated, and loving service to the Supreme Lord, who is praised with transcendental songs, will be established as an irrevocable fact. Om Agyana Tamarandasya Gyananjana Salakaya Chakshurunmadatam Yena Tasmaye Shri Gurave Namaha. I was born in the darkness of ignorance, and my teachers are opening my eyes with the torchlight of knowledge. I offer my obeisances at their lotus feet. Reading from the Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 8, Chapter 24, Text 31. Okay,
so Satyavrata, a king, went to go kind of bathe in the water, put his hands in the water, pulled out a handful of water, and there's a little fish in there.
Little fish.
Put it in a bowl, grew to be too big, put it in something bigger, kept growing, put it here, put it there, put it in a lake, put it in the ocean, it kept growing.
Yeah.
And then he realized this isn't an ordinary fish.
This is a Krishna miracle. What's going on right now?
This is that, Raghunath, that's a Krishna miracle, okay?
Yeah, there's many different miracles out there, but that's one of them.
That's one. Yes. And so then he understood this is a form of Lord Vishnu. He began to offer beautiful prayers. Now Vishnu is going to answer back in the form of this fish, Matsya.
Yeah.
All right, text 31.
Okay. Sukadeva Goswami said, when King Satyavrata spoke in this way, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who at the end of the Yuga has assumed the form of a fish to benefit his devotee and enjoy his pastimes in the water of inundation, responds as follows. This is what God said. O king, who can subdue your enemies? On the seventh day from today, the three worlds, Bhu, Bhavaha, and Swa, will all merge into the water of inundation.
Okay.
The end of the universe. When all the three worlds merge into the water, a large boat sent by me will appear before you. Sounds interesting, Mara.
Sounds familiar, Raghu.
Right? Sounds familiar. It sounds like the Bible, Noah's Ark,
yes,
was first taken from the Srimad Bhagavatam.
It's going to sound a little more like that as we go.
Right? Thereafter, O king, you shall collect all types of herbs and seeds and load them on that great boat. Then, accompanied by the 7 rishis, surrounded by all kinds of living entities, you shall get aboard that boat. And without moroseness, right? Because there's a lot of reasons to be morose. Everything is dying. So you won't. So without moroseness, you shall easily travel with your companions on the ocean of inundation, the only illumination being the effulgence of the great rishis. So you're not going to have spotlights.
Seeds. Yeah. The seeds, there's herbs, there's rishis. We're getting them all, like the things you need to preserve to like rebuild society, right?
Yeah, you can take them with you. You know, it's amazing that I think the Christians claimed when they first came to India, they got this story from us. No. This is much older.
Okay.
Pulling the boat with Or maybe it's the same story. 36. Then, as the boat is tossed about by the powerful winds,
No,
attach
pulling the boat. You were right the first time. Oh no, maybe you're right. I'm sorry.
No.
You're right this time. I'm sorry.
Thank you. Then, as the boat is tossed about by the powerful winds, attach the vessel to my horn by means of the great serpent Vasuki, for I shall be present by your side.
It was that line that was mentioned earlier that knocked me off my seat. And
That
when
Kaustubha laughed.
Episode entitled "Kaustubha Finally Loses It."
That was a good one. That was a good one. We got to make a highlight reel of all the times that each one of us has actually lost it on the show.
Well, that would be mostly you, Raghunath.
Well,
I think it happened to me once and Mara once.
Pulling the boat with you and all the rishis in it, O king, I shall travel in the water of devastation until the night of Lord Brahma's slumber is over. You will be thoroughly advised and favored by me, and because of your inquiries, everything about my glories, which are known as Param Brahma, will be manifest within your hearts. Thus, you will know everything about me. Man, I wish someone would just
hey, I
impart
never do this.
knowledge into my heart.
But you take the show for a second. There's a real important quick phone call I got to take here, okay? I'm sorry. I'll be real quick. You keep reading. Keep reading. Keep reading.
Okay. After thus instructing, the king, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, immediately disappeared. Then King Satyavrata began to wait for that time of which the Lord had instructed. Okay, Mara, get in the picture here. Text 40. Mara, you read this. Text 40.
After spreading Kusha with its tips pointing east, the saintly king, himself facing the northeast, sat down on the grass and began to meditate upon the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Vishnu, who had assumed the form of a fish.
Text 41.
Thereafter, gigantic clouds pouring incessant water swelled the ocean more and more. Thus, the ocean began to overflow onto the land and inundate the entire world. As Satyavrata remembered the order of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he saw a boat coming near him. Thus, he collected herbs and creepers, and accompanied by saintly brahmanas, he got aboard the boat. Seems like he should have collected those seeds and herbs in advance.
I'm back, Raghu.
Yeah, well, maybe there was a lot of it wasn't that rainy where he was. He was on higher ground. That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah,
What's going on here, Raghu?
Mara's reading. I've outsourced the work to Mara.
Are you gonna talk down to me?
That's a sign of a good manager.
Are you gonna talk down to me? Mara's reading, being responsible right now. Dutiful.
Okay. The saintly brahmanas, being pleased with the king, said to him, "O king, please meditate upon the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Keshava. He will save us from this impending danger and arrange for our well-being." Then, while the king constantly meditated upon the personality of Godhead, a large golden fish appeared in the ocean of inundation. The fish had one horn and was 8 million miles long.
Are there fish with horns like normally?
Yeah, swordfish.
They have a horn? They got like a sword in their face. I'm talking like a horn that comes out of a horn, not a...
Yeah, the swordfish.
A horn?
I'm looking it up now.
Well, it's something.
What verse are we on?
Like a beak. It's like a beak.
Yeah, but that's not a horn.
Everyone's saying narwhal. Narwhal.
There's also a longhorn cowfish, which has large spines above the eyes that resemble the horns of a cow.
Never even heard of that.
There's also unicorn fishes, which have a
now we're
horn-like
talking.
projection.
That's what I'm picturing in my mind.
Yeah.
What's the one with the long pointy nose? It's a type of whale.
Needle nose?
Oh, no.
Okay,
no.
let's keep this
horn.
moving.
It's an actual horn.
Sorry. Okay.
Maybe it's a narwhal. Okay.
Text
45. Following the instructions formerly given by the personality of Godhead, the king anchored the boat to the fish's horn. Using the serpent Vasuki is a rope. Phew. It's hard to even imagine this. Thus, being satisfied, he began offering prayers to the Lord. The king said, by the grace of the Lord, those who have lost their self-knowledge since time immemorial, and who, because of this ignorance, are involved in the material conditional life full of miseries, obtain the chance to meet the Lord's devotee. I accept that the Supreme Personality of Godhead as the supreme spiritual master. In hopes of becoming happy in this material world, the foolish conditioned soul performs fruitive actions that result only in suffering. By rendering service to the personality of Godhead, one becomes free from such false desires for happiness. May my supreme spiritual master cut the knot of false desires from the core of my heart. It's
You know, Raghunath, yeah, when you're in a place like Vrindavan, Govardhan, you meet people that got this just clear as a bell, right? That said, you know what, I've endeavored so much to try to find happiness, but I kind of see through it now. And I'm ready to spend my time lying down on the street 108 times at every spot, moving a rock each time, you know, because I feel myself becoming connected, my consciousness being elevated, becoming connected to the divine, whereas I didn't when I was trying to live this life of so-called independence. It didn't work. There was no nectar in it. There was no juice in it. There was so much pain in it. And since I let that go, and this knot of false desires that was right there in the core of my heart, when that got cut, nothing external mattered anymore. It didn't matter that I'm lying in the street with 108 rocks. You know, I was feeling happiness. Yeah.
It's amazing how it's something that everybody on this path has to really analyze, which is the more we possess, the more we are possessed. Oh. The more we're possessed, the more we try to possess, it's as if we're possessed. And here's another one, spinning off that is,
okay,
our possessions possess us.
We're gonna.
It's like,
where's this all coming from?
I've been meditating on this lately. Okay, right. The spirit, especially when we're grown up in an affluent family, which in the West we have, you know, even though it's not, maybe we're not the richest, we grew up with affluence, and you know, people work in this world, you know, friends of ours, and they become affluent, and they have this opportunity to get their desires fulfilled.
Yeah.
Meaning they can buy what they want. They can live where they want. They can get a house. They can get a car that they want. They can go the places they want. They can go to the beaches they want. They can have the vacations they want. And when you get to this place, and it's important, when you get to this place, and Jim Carrey said this best, it's so damn beautiful. He said, I wish everyone could get rich and famous and have everything they ever dreamed, so they would know it's not the answer. Right? So some people never even get there. Some people just say, man, I wish I wanted that, and now I'm going to die, and I never got what I wanted. Right? Or sometimes I want it really bad, but I lost it. Damn it. Everything crashed. It crashed and burned. I lost my business. I lost the love of my life. They got it, but it got taken away. But this third place to go, this third place is, I got it, but it's not what my heart wants. It's not what I really want. I've had it all. Big deal. And when we get to that place, right? When we get to that place, that's where spiritual life begins. It's the beginning. It's the dawn of our understanding that there's got to be something more than this. Big deal.
Love it, Raghu. Love it. And you get some real good takeaway fodder right there. I like that.
You know, and that's what you see at Govardhan Hill. You know, you don't just see like, there's a bunch of poor guys, you know, they're losers. They have nothing to do. They're bowing down at Govardhan Hill. They're so primitive. No, you don't even know who that is. You don't even know who's bowing down. Everybody's dirty because they're in the dust of Govardhan. But sometimes you have very, very wealthy people going there. You had kings doing this. You had kings, head of huge parcels of land in India bowing down to Govardhan. It is a place where the king takes off his crown and becomes like laying in the dust, because even a king will realize it's got nothing to do with stuff. It's got to do with what I do with my stuff. That is going to make my life successful or not. Desires that all of us have to really analyze our desires and see, are they going to give me what I want? Or am I chasing, like sometimes you go hiking on trails in the mountains or something, and they have little markers. And sometimes there's like a fork and you're like, which way do we go? Left or right? Well, let's just go right. Let's just choose this way. And the trail keeps going. And then all of a sudden you realize it's going nowhere. This is not the trail. So many people embark on a material trail thinking there's going to be something at the end for them. And they're just lost. They're lost. They've spent so much time. It's going to take them forever to get back to zero and get back on the right path. So the Bhagavatam is really, really wonderful at saying, make sure you're going down the right trail. Examine your desires. Are they going to give you what you think they're going to give you? Or are you just going to get lost in the forest? And sometimes we don't realize it. Hopefully we'll realize it with our intelligence. Sometimes we don't realize it till we're old and you're like, you know what? Big deal. Thank you. Where did Kaustubha go in that? Did we lose Kaustubha? All right. Do we lose everybody?
No, we just lost Kaustubha.
We just lost Kaustubha.
Yeah.
Okay.
Still here.
Yeah, we're going to dive back into this Kaustubha.
All right. Text 48.
Can you give me a view of everybody here so I can see when
thought we were
Kaustubha
gonna
jumps back in?
Okay.
Okay. Give me the other thing, please.
Thanks.
Man, well, how would I do this show without Mara? I don't know how Kaustubha does it without Mara.
Text 48.
Text 48. One who wants to be free from material entanglement should take to the service of the Supreme Personality of Godhead and give up the contamination of ignorance involving pious and impious activities. Thus, one regains his original identity, just as a block of gold or silver sheds all dirt and becomes purified when treated with fire. Such a good analogy, huh? May that inexhaustible Supreme Personality of Godhead become our spiritual master, for he is the original spiritual master of all other spiritual masters, right? He's the source. Okay. Continuing on. You looking for Kaustubha?
Yeah, because he might be muted when he comes back.
Okay. Kaustubha's muted.
Text 49.
Neither all the demigods, nor the so-called gurus, nor all the other people, either independently or together, can offer mercy that equals even 1/10,000th of yours. Therefore, I wish to take shelter of your lotus feet. Yeah, I was going to say in that previous verse, the work we do in this world, work for the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And that's what we're sort of like in the process of. How can what I do in this world be tied to the Supreme Personality of Godhead? And there's a beautiful verse in the Bhagavad Gita, Yad Yad Acharati Shrestас. Work must be performed for Vishnu, or else work causes bondage in this material world. What does that mean? If I'm working for my ego, if I'm working just to collect funds, if I'm working merely for my family, work will cause bondage. But if we were, and bondage means I think I'm this body. I think this family is mine. I think this home is mine. I think this stuff is mine. And we have to get through our head. None of it's ours. We can't own anything of this world. All these things come into our life, and we're supposed to use those things to extract us from material existence, not to entangle us in material existence. And I'm not just talking to the regular guy walking down the street. I'm talking to those who are practicing bhakti yoga. That means you could say, well, I'm getting married. I'm having a Vedic marriage, or my wife is also practicing bhakti, or we're having children and I'm going to name them Krishna names. This is Kishore Das. No. It doesn't matter. No one gets a pass from understanding I don't own my spouse. I don't own my house. This money is meant to be somehow serve the liberation of all living beings. And it's a beautiful, beautiful meditation. And unless you get it, you're going to get entangled in it. Money can entangle you. Your success can entangle you. Your family can entangle you. All the good karma that we want, that we're hoping our astrologer says, you're going to have great karma. All of it is going to tie us up in a knot unless we use it to serve the divine, or we're going to serve our ego. Look at Kaustubha just sitting there with his hand up. Hi, Kaustubha. How are you?
I'm back. I'm
Still
back.
choppy.
Oh, you're still choppy, sir.
The looking out and everything. So
Okay.
It's
How about now?
5:27.
It's 5:27, Prabhu. I think we got to go. Miss Mara, do we have any takeaways today?
We actually have a lot of takeaways.
We got a lot of takeaways. Oh, what? All right, get in the camera. You're like back there like
All right.
little
Anyway,
Minnie Mouse. You good, Kaustubha? You're frozen in time and space, my friend.
Let's go ahead with takeaways.
Okay, we're going to go ahead with these takeaways.
I think I'm good. I don't know if my connection is good.
Okay.
Okay, as long as you're good.
Yeah. Spiritual strength surpasses the limitations of the mind.
I'm good.
Yeah. Good with that?
Kirtan classes and faith can keep you flying high.
Yeah. Feeling low. It's, by the way, even if you've been practicing this for a while, expect there to be low times. And how do we get out of that? Kirtan,
Mm-hmm.
hearing the Bhagavatam, and some faith. Those things actually give you faith.
Surrender to Govardhan to become blissful.
Yeah.
How dare they? And don't they know who I am? Are statements when you're in Maya.
How dare they?
It's so good.
But it's true.
I know.
It's true. I've said it to certain people. And I was like, I'm in Maya. I'm definitely in Maya. How dare they?
The faults we see in others might be our own faults.
Yeah. Yes. Yes.
In the hopes of happiness, we create our own suffering.
In our hopes of happiness, we create our own suffering. Yes, we do.
Connect with the divine and cut the knot of false desires.
False desires means desires that won't actually fulfill.
Our possessions possess us.
They can.
The more we try to possess, the more we are possessed.
We're like possessed. Oh, my stuff, my stuff. Like people lose their stuff. They lose their mind. You're going to lose it all anyway. Don't you understand? It's all getting thrown in dumpsters by your children.
Whoa.
It is. It's horrible, but it is. All the things you value, all your bric-a-brac. Bric-a-brac. Great word, huh?
Yeah.
Bric-a-brac.
Big deal is the beginning of our spiritual life.
Big deal. That's the dawn.
Yeah. Analyze if your desires will actually give you what you want.
Yeah, sometimes they will. We don't say suppress desires. We say analyze. Are they spiritual desires? You can say, hey, I desire to hear Wisdom of Sages podcast. I desire to hear kirtan. I desire to associate with saintly devotees. I desire a samosa that was offered to Krishna.
And let's hope our death is as noble as a Govardhan Hill monkey.
Let's hope. Auspicious monkey, sending out prayers to that monkey today. And Jean Rene from Puerto Rico's here. David Houseworth, good to see you here live. Sonny the cat.
Raghu.
Yes,
Did
sir.
you see the sadhu who I put up on the chat board? This is the person I was talking about.
Oh, he is blissful.
Nice, right? I'm gonna
He
try to
is
put him on the
blissful.
thumbnail.
The thumbnail. Oh, that's great. That
Yeah,
is a
people
great.
see it.
Did you guys take that picture? Anyway, Karina's family's here. Parmananda's back. Hey, Parmananda. Jolly Lama's here. AJ Sullivan's here. Sweet Anna Ciro from Cali, Colombia's here. And Hannah Brinkhouse. Matter of fact, last time I saw Anna Ciro, I saw Hannah Brinkhouse. We're all together. Ishwari Sundari's here, Harry Bowl. We're going to see Ishwari Sundari a lot this year. Hey, we are about to post. Where are we going to post them? We're going to post all the dates at Super Soul Farm this year. You know what? Maybe you could post them to all our people on our thread first. We could do that.
I can post it on our website, on Circle. On, the
On
community
Circle
chat.
Community Chat. Do you have to be a Sage member to be part of that?
I think so. I think there's supposed to
All
be a
right.
Sage community member to
Anyway.
see it.
Alrighty. Anyway, people, thanks. We lost Kaustubha again. Listen, beautiful day for a beautiful day. It's a magical day today. It's going to be great. I've already lived the day ahead of you. I'm 10 and a half hours ahead of you. You've got a lot of great things coming up. Just putting that out there. Let the magic continue to flow. And Amaha Haribo.